Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Dota replay. This is again from the Dreamhack Summer. This is Group B, and this is a matchup between Dignitas and Virtus.Pro, the two favorites to move on to the playoff bracket. And this should overall be a really exciting match. Virtus.Pro has definitely become one of my favorite teams. It's always been one of my favorite teams. NS is one of my favorite players. Ars-art is really awesome as well. Meanwhile, Dignitas is probably my favorite American team. So I'm really looking forward to this matchup. I can't really root for one team or another, but it should hopefully be an exciting game nonetheless. Virtus.Pro definitely with a lot more consistency recently than Dignitas, but Dignitas, this group is considered the easiest of the groups, so both teams are looking to make it out. So we'll see how both teams decide to approach it. Virtus.Pro definitely known to be a bit more aggressive than Dignitas, so we'll have to see how Virtus.Pro decide to go about breaking Dignitas' shell. So Virtus.Pro gonna open up with a gyrocopter ban. Dignitas, interesting enough, gonna open up with a disruptor. So maybe they have something in mind. Maybe they want to get the Wisp pairing because Wisp is usually picked up as second choice. So I imagine Dignitas might let Bauer through in order to get the Wisp pick if Virtus.Pro do not ban out the Wisp right now. And that might be why Virtus.Pro are taking so long to ban out the next hero. I think they're considering whether they want to ban out the Wisp or not. But yeah, Disruptor, really odd ban, but Virtus.Pro gonna ban out the Naga Siren, so we'll see what Dignitas decides to do. Because now Wisp and Barrett are still left in the pool, and Dignitas, interesting enough, gonna ban out the Wisp. And Virtus.Pro gonna pick up the Nature's Prophet, so that leaves Dignitas open to a Barrett choice, and they are gonna snatch it up eagerly, as well as the Darkseer. Now, these days, Barrett is more often than not played as a offlane hero, and Darkseer is the offlane role for Universe. So I'm not too sure how this Barrett will be played. I guess Snaking will have to take it mid, but Virtus.Pro gonna get one of their more trendy supports these days in the form of Vengeful Spirit, gonna have a lot of aura benefits from that support hero, as well as having some pretty strong mid-game DPS in the form of the Vengeful Spirit's auto attacks as well as their stun, and of course her swap can be very invaluable. And Vengeful Spirit in general is considered sort of a semi-counter to Barrett's initiation because swap, since it swaps so fast, does instantly break the lasso on the target that was, of course, swapped out. So, Vengeful Spirit, a really solid choice, and it doesn't really give away too much of Virtus.Pro's strategy, other than they might want to push early on with the Nature's Prophet in conjunction with the Vengeful Spirit aura, as well as the Howl of Terror. Dignitas gonna be at the Lifestealer, so I guess they fear the Nature's Prophet teleport bomb with the Lifestealer inside of him, and they also recognize that Virtus.Pro currently do not have a carry, and meanwhile Virtus.Pro gonna be at a Keeper of the Light. Maybe recognizing that Dignitas do like to turtle quite a bit, and right now they have picked up two experience-dependent heroes in the form of Barretter and Darkseer. So Virtus.Pro gonna get rid of the Keeper of the Light presence. Of course, Keeper of the Light really strong in terms of turtling, and Dignitas do like to play a bit greedy. They favor the mid to late stages of the game a bit more than the other stages of the game. So Keeper of the Light does make sense since Virtus.Pro, I guess they just want to go all in the early stages of the game. The Vengeful Spirit pick doesn't really indicate that, but just judging by the two picks of Virtus.Pro versus the two picks of Dignitas, Virtus.Pro definitely is a bit more early game centric. They want to sort of get going before Darkseer and Barriers start becoming a huge nuisance. And Dignitas gonna ban out the Dragonite. Interesting call, as Dignitas don't want to get up that tanky carry, and Virtus.Pro gonna ban out Jakiro, smart ban. Darkseer and Jakiro such a strong combination, and Jakiro is one of Dignitas' favorite supports to pair with the Darkseer, just because Vacuum and Ice Path locks people in place for such a long time, and the teamfight potential that Jakiro brings is just pretty much unrivaled by any support, because Ice Path, Dual Breath, Vacuum, Macro Pyre just give you so much damage in an AoE that it's really difficult for a team to overcome that in the early to mid stages of the game. And even going on to the late stages of the game, that combination does remain very powerful. So Dignitas, they have their, I guess, mid laner in the form of Barrett, they have their off laner in the form of Darkseer. I can't imagine they're going to go with an aggressive child, and that doesn't really seem to be Dignitas' style. And we're going to have to see what they decide to choose right now. They're going to probably snatch up one of the supports and leave their carry for AY 2000 with their last choice. And we're going to have to see how it shapes up. Dignitas, Lone Druid is still left in the pool, but Lone Druid hasn't really been played as much. He's a bit of a riskier pick, not only because of the armlet, more because the bear just gives up so much gold. And Virtus.Pro have a lot of early game damage to burst down the bear. They have minus armor, they have treants, and they have Vengeful Spirit who can cast up to 2 stuns in a single engagement with the magic missile. But Dignitas gonna pick up Queen of Pain. Interesting choice. So either this will be in a what is, I guess this is a support trialing Batrider, And if that's the case, I'm really questioning it. Meanwhile, Virtus.Pro going to pick up the Enigma, and this is all the makings of a level 1 Rosh strat into just a straight up push, as Dignitas going to pick up Rubik. Smart choice, because you will always be able to stay out of the black hole, no matter what, since it is a channeling ability. But Virtus.Pro going to pick up the Luna, and this is definitely an all-out push slash Rosan strategy. And we're going to see how Virtus.Pro sort of organizes this. Will they teleport all mid like Alliance did in the G1 League against DK, or are they just gonna try to bait out, maybe wait for Dignitas to respond and then go in? I'm not too sure at this moment. But Dignitas, they have a really greedy lineup for the most part, and Virtus.Pro have some really strong early game pressure. They have multiple auras in the form of Lunar Blessing, Vengeful Spirits auras. They have a lot of pushing potential with the Treants as well as the Enigma conversions. And Dignitas, the AoE is pretty much, or their counter push is pretty much Ion Shell and Fade Bolt. Queen of Pain has to venture a bit too close for her liking in order to cast that Scream of Pain. And Barrett, of course, has to preemptively cast the Firefly, otherwise he'll have to be up close and personal. They have Flame Break, but I mean, Barrett doesn't want to spam that so much because it does cost a lot of mana. And in the early game, Barrett definitely is a bit mana starved.
5 seconds remaining.
So I'm a bit concerned for Dignitas since Virtus.Pro going pretty much all out early game, but if this early game does fail, then Virtus.Pro could potentially be in a lot of trouble. They have a lot of lockdown, they have a lot of split push, and they have a pretty solid hard carry in their back pocket. So this lineup actually scales pretty well to all stages of the game, and really unique lineup. But I guess the problem is that it's... what is the problem with this lineup? It does sort of rely on its ultimates quite heavily for the team fights, because Eclipse, Black Hole have such long cooldowns, and they can be potentially very easily stolen by the Rubik. As Dignitas is going to be at the left track, recognizing the Virtus.Pro do need one more support, and perhaps recognizing that Virtus.Pro will go for an early push slash Roshan strategy, Edict will be very important in that engagement. Meanwhile, Virtus.Pro banning out the Anti-Mage, so I guess they are a bit concerned with the split pushing aspect that Anti-Mage could provide, and an Anti-Mage is just really annoying for most of Virtus.Pro's lineup to deal with outside Nature's Pop. But Dignitas gonna pick up Morphling, a carry that they have sort of grown to love again these days. The only buff he got was a slight reduction to his base attack time, which doesn't really help him out too much, but does help out his rate of auto attacks as well as harassment in terms of lanes. But Virtus.Pro gonna pick up the Beastmaster for Tame Island, so this is a full-on aura into push strategy. And I gotta think that Virtus.Pro will at least attempt to go for Roshan at level 1 if Dignitas do not scout appropriately. But yeah, really interesting lineup by Virtus.Pro. Now they have a couple ways to shut down Morphling. They have the Roar, which can be cancelled by Lincoln Sphere, but that will take quite a while to build up. They have Black Hole, they have Swap. This lineup of Virtus.Pro, it's really interesting and has a lot of potential, but it is, you know, not that strong in terms of the laning phase. That's pretty much the only weakness. And Dignitas, they have a lineup that isn't that strong in the laning phase either. They have Queen of Pain, and it is going to be Fogg to play in the Barrier, so it will be a support Barrier, which I'm not the biggest fan of. And we are going to see the 5 teleport mid strategy by Virtus.Pro. They're going to immediately teleport to the Roshan. Not going to give Dignitas any time to respond, but smartly, way too sexy, playing the Rubik. Going to teleport himself mid to just scout out the action, but Dignitas are not following him up, and way too sexy can't really go in and contest the Roshan by himself. And Virtus.Pro, with the aura skills, you can see Lunar Blessing was leveled up at level 1. I wonder if Command Aura, yes, it was actually Command Aura, or Vengeance Aura as it's called in Dota 2, was leveled up. Inner Beast was leveled up as well. And this Roshan will die way too fast before Dignitas can actually respawn. I'm not too sure if it would be wise for Dignitas to take this gauge because Virtus.Pro will have level advantage, and the Roshan is going to fall. That will give Dignitas a severe level deficit as KSI going to take a lot of damage, but Universe will be the first one to fall. Couldn't cast any Ion Shells. AY doing a lot of damage with his waveform. Going into Aegis is already going to take down ars-art. Going to be able to cast multiple magic missiles because Vengeance Sphere has such a good mana cost on that spell. Dignitas AY will get picked off and now Fogged. The only sole survivor does manage to get a double kill, but is going to trade the life of his entire team just for that. And wow, what an opening by Dignitas versus Virtus.Pro. Virtus.Pro just took advantage of the strategy. There was really not too much way too sexy could do by himself when he teleported to the mid lane. So I'm a bit surprised that some of the other Dignitas players didn't at least consider getting a TP scroll. At least Queen of Pain could potentially harass the Scream of Pain from the high ground since it does go through fog. Universe could potentially just run in, surge, and just scout out the area, but with way too sexy being the only one to teleport in, there's really not too much he can do by himself, especially against the mass summons that Virtus.Pro was contributing. So, introducing the players and teams after that incredible opening. Just taking a look at the levels, you can see Barrier level 3 for Dignitas, and that's it. Everybody else on the side of Virtus.Pro have a significant level advantage outside of Luna, who did die and who didn't actually pick up the Aegis. I think Wild did get the Aegis in the end. And you can see he's 2-0-2, already has the bottle up, and this is going to be a very difficult match for Snaking. He does have the range advantage as well as having some passive harassment, but Beastmaster can spam down the waves very effectively, and with the aura advantage as well as the level advantage, he will be able to out-tank and out-harass the Queen of Pain until Queen of Pain manages to get a sufficient number of levels. So Virtus.Pro so far have a distinct advantage. And KSI gonna retreat to the offlane. Meanwhile, Enigma is gonna be jungling up, and I'm gonna anticipate a very early push by Illidan because Darkseer won't really be able to contest the offlane, being at such a severe level deficit. But anyway, introducing the players and teams. We're going to have Way Too Sexy playing the Rubik for Dignitas. Fogged is going to be playing the Batrider. Universe is playing the Darkseer. AUI 2000 is going to be taking care of that Morphling. And Snaking is going to be playing the Queen of Pain in the middle lane. Meanwhile, on the side of Virtus.Pro, we're going to have NS playing the Enigma. Virtus.Pro Illidan is going to be playing the Luna. KSI is going to be taking care of that Nature's Prophet. Wild is going to be controlling that Beastmaster. And ars-art is going to be, once again, playing that Vengeful Spirit. And you can see Enigma already with the Soul Ring, and Enigma is such a fast jungler. He will make his way towards the mechanism very, very quickly, and ars-art, like the scale build, going back to get another pointed missile, as well as getting a pointed terror. So he has pretty much a jack of all trades, and Vengeful Spirit with her strength growth buff is quite tanky for support at this stage in the game, and with the level advantage, he will remain tanky. Meanwhile, the supports on the side of Dignitas really don't have any openings. They can't really gank the middle lane too effectively, and they can't really level as efficiently as the Virtus.Pro supports. So Dignitas is going to have to turtle as best they can, but it's going to be up to the Darkseer to really provide that impetus. And right now you can see Darkseer struggling a bit in terms of his jungle farm. You can see he actually picked up the double danger in order to help out his jungle farm a bit more, rather than Way Too Sexy picking it up and going for a bit of harassment, a bit of denying, a bit of support last hitting. And I think Dignitas recognized the importance of Darkseer. Darkseer is going to be the hero that can stop Virtus.Pro pushing in and potentially holding out the game long enough where AUI can truly become a monster on the map. Meanwhile, with this very early action, I wonder if AUI 2000 is going to change up his build. It could definitely be an option. He might have to forego the Lincoln Sphere, instead go for some early game damage like the straight up Yashin to Manta style rush, but in order to split push, you want to have the Lincoln Sphere so you can spam that mana as much as possible, and he's going to pick up the Ring of Health. And I guess this will be a Lincoln Sphere rush, and that will be very, very strong in terms of cancelling out the Roar and cancelling out the Swap, but there are so many single target disables on the side of Virtus.Pro that one of those abilities won't make it through. And AOI 2000 could potentially be in a lot of trouble when that time does arise. You know, Universe, recognizing that only Illidan is pushing, actually will get a decent amount of free experience up on the top lane, so a slight mistake by Virtus.Pro, but they're going to use this opportunity to actually smoke gank, so they are actually playing this very, very nicely. Universe could actually be in Lacho, and actually the Siege Wagon is going to arrive at the perfect opportunity, so actually Virtus.Pro weren't making a mistake. This is really clever timing, and Universe is going to be in Lacho. Here comes the Terracotta Scout Universe. He's going to surge away into the trees, but you can't run, you can't hide from ars-art and the squad that Virtus.Pro is bringing in. Universe trying to do as much damage as possible with the Ion Shell. Going to do a lot of damage to NS, but he will end up falling nonetheless. ars-art, very, very nicely done. Going to tank the creep aggro for now, and NS will be driven away. We'll pick up the boot speed most likely. And now the push is on, and Dignitas, they don't really have the best anti-push supports. Batrider has level in Flame Break, but that's pretty much it. But the good thing is that Fogged was able to hit level 3 on the back of that Roshan engagement. He's already level 5 in the jungle, and that means his farm is going to be very much accelerated. So it looks like he is going to go for the fast dagger, and I can't really say I blame him. They're going to look for some ganks on Nature's Prophet or Wild most likely with that dagger, but still, Fogged is going to have to do a lot of work in order for him to stall long enough that Universe and AOI 2000 can potentially carry the game in the late stages. Meanwhile, KSI sort of being thrown to the wolves. His level growth has slowed down tremendously. He's just been stuck in the offlane, knowing it's a bit too dangerous to venture too far forward against a Rubik and Morphling combination, so he's just going to stay back as best he can for now. And he has sacrificed some levels and some farm as a result, but he still managed to hit level 4. Pretty respectable, has Ring of Basilius up on him, and I mean, Nature's Prophet is a hero who can just get farm no matter the situation, and those levels definitely going to help him out. You know, Beastmaster has hit level 6, so Snaking Gonna have to play a bit careful, but actually Snaking doing a remarkable job. Actually managed to even up the level count for the most part, but the Roar is going in on Snaking. Here comes rotation. NS and ars-art gonna help clean up the mid-soul on the side of Dignitas. And this will start another push. ars-art, no more points in the aura, but the inner beast of Tiamat still level 1, but I guess the summons will be enough in order to bring down this tower. But Fogged, waiting in the wings, has that point to lasso, so this could be the start of an engagement as NS is going to take a bit of pot shot damage. Here comes Fogged, going to get a sticky name off the stack. Beautiful flame break pushing ars-art in towards him as well as pushing Tiamat away. The swap by ars-art going to help prolong his life for the moment, but that actually forced a multitude of teleports by Dignitas, so that kill wasn't all too bad for Virtus.Pro since so many teleports were forced, and that's going to delay the item progression of Rubik, of Queen of Pain, and the level growth potential of Universe, as Illidan once again going to go to work on this tower, and now he's level 8, and a level 8 Luna with the Helmet Dominator at this stage in the game. Talk about a scary situation. But still, Dignitas have not yet lost a tower, and that can be very well said. And AY looks like he's not farming as effectively as he could potentially be doing. Seems like he's having a bit of trouble last hitting. Or it could have been pushed towards the tower because Rubik was pulling a lot in order to make up some of the experience gap. But you can see Enigma and Luna have just been able to outfarm AUI consistently for the most part. AUI actually been a bit more focused on denying, whereas Luna doesn't really care too much about denying, so I'm not going to really criticize AUI too heavily, as he wants to keep the creep control on his side in order to prevent Dignitas from getting too much free experience. But KSI has made his way up to the top lane with the Ring of Basilius, and with that extra armor that it gives to his allied creeps and the Headdress of Regeneration being up on the side of Enigma, I think Virtus.Pro will likely push down the top tower sooner rather than later. You know, Beastmaster Fish, the Arcane Boots Smoke Seat has been picked up on the Barretter since the ultimate has just come up, and it looks like he will look for a gank. That Smoke Seat doesn't catch Universe, but that won't really matter too much. Illidan could potentially be in a lot of trouble, but do they actually have enough damage to bring him down? That remains to be seen, as Fog going to fly overhead. Will snag Illidan. He is going to get in range for Eclipse, as there will be a teleport by Snaking. They're going to drop the Sonic Wave, and they manage to kill off Illidan before he can get the multitude of bounces from the Eclipse. So the Eclipse is going to be on cooldown for quite a while. Nice gank by Dignitas, but Virtus.Pro want to avenge their friend. They have two supports in position, and they have the Black Hole online, but it looks like they're going to give up on that endeavor for now. So really nice gank by Dignitas. The only problem is that they don't have any spells that can stop this Virtus.Pro push, and you can see Dignitas is going to respond by pushing the bottom lane as best they can. But Wrath of Nature is going to delay that for now, and this tower will get killed off, won't even be attempted to be denied, as NS is going to pick up that last hit. That will fuel his mechanism, as I think he will pick that up very soon. And yes, you can see that mechanism is actually finished. You know, the bottom tower not falling as fast as Dignitas would hope. Actually, gonna be just outside deny range, so at the very least Dignitas won't lose too much gold. But they didn't get the tower trade, and Illidan gonna be contentedly farming up for now. And Sonic Wave has such a long cooldown in the early game that even though you got a really strong kill, that means you won't really have too much teamfight potential for Queen of Pain outside the Screen of Pain for quite a while. So that's a bit annoying for Snaking. You know, Tiamat picks up Invisibility and spies Snaking. He might go in since there is a Venture Spirit to back him up. But no, he's going to turn his attentions to the jungle. Does spot out Universe. And Universe, if he knows that small collision block, could be in a lot of trouble. But Venture Spirit will go in on Universe. Here comes the Axes. They are going to chain the stuns very nicely. Universe never stood a chance in hell, as Snaking going to come in try and do as much damage as possible to ars-art, as Firefly will be used by the Barretter. ars-art could potentially be in a lot of trouble. Flame Break can be casted. One sticky Napalm stack was used, as Snaking will likely pick up the kill. He does do just that, so it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. And so far, Dignitas is holding on a bit better than I expected. But they are still in a lot of trouble. Morphling is such a late game hero these days that he does need a lot of time to get going. And sooner or later, Virtus.Pro will get their auras maxed out. And when that time comes, their pushing potential will be downright terrifying.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Meow Luna, 17-year-old gold in the bank. Wonder what she'll go for. She could potentially go for drums. It would definitely synergize very well with the aura strategy. Give her some nice HP, nice movement speed. And I don't know if she necessarily needs the BKB rush just yet. But it looks like he's going to instead pick up a Ring of Aquila, and Roshan is going to be respawning. We'll see if Dignitas can actually contest this. I don't think they can. There's just way too many summons, and they're going to be fighting against a black hole. And Fog just at too low HP to really properly contest it. Does pick up the dagger, but this will mean an uncontested Roshan for Virtus.Pro, and that's going to give them a significant gold advantage. You can see the Dire already have a significant gold advantage from the towers as well as the Roshan, and they already have a significant experience advantage. And all way too sexy wanted to do was place a ward, but he is going to be thwarted in that attempt. And the second Roshan has been claimed. The smoked seat will be popped as well. And I think Dignitas probably recognized that Virtus.Pro is smoked up since they don't see him leaving in this route. And they don't see him arriving here. But Dignitas, being a bit too slow to react, way too sexy, gonna receive the brunt of focus. He will get roared up, and Dignitas should just back on out of there. Fog actually exposing himself a bit too dangerously. But in the end, all they sacrificed was a Rubik. And Virtus.Pro gonna start their push attempt on the bottom lane, and this push should be successful. There's really not too much Dignitas can do to stop them. They have no points in the wall just yet, so they can't look for a team fight. They have a Blink Dagger Barrier, but that really can't do too much when Barrier only has 900 HP, and he's gonna be face rushing a 5-man push lineup. And AUI just trying to get whatever farm is possible. I like that they're sacrificing AUI's farm in exchange for Universe getting farm on the top lane, because they recognize that Universe needs so much more levels than AUI in order for Dignitas to hold on. But still, AUI is not receiving too much farm whatsoever, and this could potentially cost Dignitas, since KSI is getting quite farmed, Luna's getting quite farmed. Gonna go for the BKB rather than going for the drums.
Running with the pack.
And actually, I'm a bit surprised that Virtus.Pro have not picked up a set of drums. That aura would potentially be very, very useful, and the charges could really, really kill those towers very, very quickly. I mean, while Snaking just pushing the tower as best he can, using that Screaming Pain whenever possible. Gonna rush that BKB, but there's so many ways to go towards that BKB. There's Swap, there's Roar, there's Black Hole. It's just gonna be very, very difficult for Queen of Pain to actually do anything with the BKB charges, especially with the Roar. The Roar is definitely the biggest factor in terms of shutting down a BKB user on the side of Dignitas.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Meanwhile, Illidan, since he had that with Dominator, was consistently stacking the Dire Ancients, and he will be able to get himself a healthy amount of gold. 1400 gold now, as looks like Virtus.Pro not too keen on defending this tower, instead are looking for an opening on AUI 2000. They will get the aura up, they will get the swap online, and NS gonna get in position for a black hole. No, it isn't even necessary, as AUI will pop his strength growth as well as force a couple teleports, and Dignitas will be able to defend their carry for now, but black hole is still online, Snaking, looking for an opening. This could potentially be some trouble for Virtus.Pro since they are engaging into Blink Dagger Barrier, as NS does manage to get the black hole online. Fogged actually runs straight into the black hole, does not cast the Flame Break, and that's going to mean that Snaking will get picked off, but NS will be in a lot of trouble. He will die in exchange, and now ars-art might be on the retreat, but no, Beastmaster is here. Tailwind has joined the party. AUI does get the strength growth off, but can he actually withstand the barrage of damage that's coming his way? No, Nature's Power does teleport himself in. Fog going to be a lot of trouble. Flame Break actually does not push back too much of anything. I think he wanted to break down the trees, but you can't do that. And Fog will give up his life. So Virtus.Pro crushed that victory very, very handily. All they lost was Enigma, and they're going to be able to claim a tier 2 as well. I'm a bit sort of curious to... A bit questionable play by Fog. I don't know why he didn't use the Flame Ring to cancel the black hole. Instead he sort of flew in and tried to get the lasso, which you can do since Enigma's black hole is channeled in front of him, rather than all around him like an RP. But I think the safer route would have just been immediately canceling the black hole. Then perhaps Snaking wouldn't have died. But even then, that might not have been the case. And Virtus.Pro, ars-art, holding on to a lot of gold. He has 2k gold in the bank, and I'm a bit curious to see what he picks up. It might be the drum since Illidan has chosen to forgo it, or he might choose to go for some damage items. But I think drums is the best option. Instead, he's going to go for a pipe. So, pipe will be the choice for Vengeful Spirit. This will make her incredibly tanky, and the longer Vengeful Spirit survives, the more chances she can apply that damage aura for her allies, gets more terrors off, more magic missiles off, and this Vengeful Spirit is just becoming a major, major force for Virtus.Pro in this game. Beastmaster, saving up a lot of gold, is having something delivered to him. It's a finished Aghanim Scepter, 15 minutes of game, finished Ags, gonna give him incredible range as well as a really reduced cooldown on that Beastmaster Prong Roar. You can see he has 70-second cooldown, now reduced to 45, and the range increases just absolutely tremendous. 950 range pretty much means that if you cast it on Rubik, you'll never have a chance to steal Black Hole. If you cast it on anybody, they will most likely die. And so Virtus.Pro getting the items they need to sort of start taking even bigger control over the game. But snaking, initiating on ars-art. Ars-art just way too tanky. Fogged, gonna presume, gonna Firefly overhead, using the Flame Break to potentially get the pushback. Snaking gonna go in, but he's gonna be in a lot of trouble now as the Roar gonna fly in. Wrath of Nature doing a lot of damage, and Snaking gonna get the mech up as Darkseer did manage to heal him up. But it seems like way too sexy, gonna pay for that. For now, another swap going in, as it seems like nobody's died just yet, but the Eclipse is gonna do a lot of damage. The Aegis has expired on the Beastmaster once again, but Fogged will be killed off as well, and AOI can only watch while he farms in dismay up on the top lane. Snaking was his only sole survivor. I was a bit confused because there were so many swaps, so Rubik actually stole the swap. And man, Darkseer had pointed to wall, but didn't use it. I guess he just didn't have enough mana. And that is going to cost Dignitas quite heavily because they're going to lose the tier 2 tower, and they got nobody in exchange. All they got was the Aegis up on Tame the Wild, and the Aegis was going to time out relatively soon. And meanwhile, KSI going to be enough to single-handedly drive away the Queen of Pain, as Queen of Pain doesn't have that ultimate online. Going to try to chip away the middle tower, but in exchange, Virtus.Pro will secure the bottom tier 2 tower, and the tier 1 middle will remain safe for the moment. Veteran Spirit making your way towards that pipe. Meanwhile, NS has that mechanism, like I previously mentioned. Gonna pick up a cloak as well, so not gonna go for a pipe, just wants that extra bit of magical reduction. Because you can't always rely on the pipe to save you. You want to have a bit of extra protection, as Virtus.Pro probably aware of those factors since, you know, Russia can be a pretty sketchy place. Always gotta wear that protection. Of course, I'm purely talking in terms of cloaks and nothing else. You know, KSI has finished the Shadow Blade. He's had it for quite a while, as the Flamer gonna fly in, and the Courier gonna deliver an item that will be the Headdress finish, so that will give Virtus.Pro even more regeneration. Keep in mind, Headdress does stack with the Mechanism Aura, and so Virtus.Pro gonna be regenerating 8 HP per second. Pretty ridiculous, and they are gonna start the final push. You know, Dignitas, all they can do is appropriately respond by split pushing up on the top lane with AUI 2000, and AUI has farmed very well, has finished a 16-minute Lincoln Sphere, but now he might be in a bit of trouble. Has the Replicate to get him out of trouble, but yes, we'll be able to wait for him out of there. Actually, the axe is going to cut down the trees very nicely, but Illidan just was not able to get enough vision. The Beastmaster Hawk just a little bit too slow to reveal AUI. And AUI will escape for now, and Morphling is going to have to split push as best he can. Dignitas still in this game, even though it's looking very dicey, but they really need to rely on the wall to give a lot of damage. And with only level 3 vacuum, and only sort of Elastic to hold people in place, there's not too many things outside of that that can really keep Virtus.Pro in the confines of a wall for now. You know, Morphling gonna have the treads finished towards him, and you can see Morphling is farming very well, but still, 3 heroes on the side of Virtus.Pro are surpassing him in terms of gold because of the towers, because of the Roshans, and Virtus.Pro will likely secure the 3rd Roshan, and with that they will have a 20-minute Aegis and Cheese online for their push, and Dignitas have not yet even claimed a tier 2 tower, so their split pushing response won't be nearly as strong. So Virtus.Pro looking in a commanding position in the gold graph, heavily favoring Virtus.Pro, 14k gold advantage, 12k experience advantage from those extra experience from the Roshan kills, as well as the kill advantage, make no bones about it. Meanwhile, Luna finished the BKB, she's finished that for quite a while. Saving up a lot of gold for her next item. Not too sure what it will be. Likely a match style, but still, anything's possible. You know, KSI likely saving up towards the Hex or the Orchid. Orchid could potentially be more useful. A bit surprised that Virtus.Pro have not yet secured themselves a Vlad's. And NS, that might be his next item if he saves up 200 more gold. Or he could potentially get a Blink Dagger. Why not stack as many auras as possible? As actually Timwad didn't choose their Max's Aura, instead chose to max Call of the Wild to get that increased Boar slow as well as getting that Greater Hawk. I think he thinks his team has sufficient amount of auras, and I can't say I'm blaming him. Actually, Virtus.Pro gonna attempt the high ground before even claiming the Roshan. They don't want to keep waiting up against a Morphling lineup. Instead, they're gonna go when they're at their peak, which is right now. They have the pipe finished, and that's what they were waiting for. Here comes Roar being cast from miles away. They will catch Fog as Swap will go down. It does manage to catch Fog once again. Universe does manage to get a nice wall up, but do they have enough damage to keep Virtus.Pro in place? No, it's simply not enough. Virtus.Pro gonna clean up these bottom or these top barracks without a fight whatsoever, or with only a small skirmish. And Virtus.Pro will claim themselves the first set of barracks in the game, but you can see on the minimap, AUI and Snaking gonna push as best they can, but this tower is still at full HP, and Virtus.Pro will easily be able to claim these middle barracks before AUI can even clean up the tier 3 up on the bottom lane. So Virtus.Pro looking to secure themselves this very anticipated game quite easily on the back of their really clever aura strat, and Dignitas not reacting, I guess, appropriately enough to the Roshan's engagement. But we are going to see Fog fly overhead once again. Gonna look for a lasso gank, but the range on Agnum Scepter just means it's so difficult for Fog to get that lasso off. Well played is called by Dignitas, as they recognize they got out-thought and out-drafted. They did not draft appropriately towards the response that Virtus.Pro concocted. So they're gonna have to go back to the drawing board, as Virtus.Pro taking commanding lead in Group B. I think they're 2-0 in this group, and Dignitas, I'm not too sure of the record, they might be 1-1. So Virtus.Pro likely moving on to the brackets, with Dignitas' future still up in the air at this moment. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Really clever play by Virtus.Pro, as they utilized that level 1 TP Roshan strategy very effectively. And it's actually a bit safer than Alliance's strategy, since they don't really have to rely on their heroes taking it up. They can just rely on their summons, and those summons tanked ridiculously well. So hopefully you enjoyed that game. Well played by Virtus.Pro overall. Dignitas gonna have to recover if they want to move on in this tournament, and we will see them again very soon. So hopefully enjoy that game. More Dreamhack replays are coming very soon. I will hope to cast at least 10 games from this tournament, just because, again, on Friday I will be out of commission at that point for quite a while, I think, due to some medical stuff. So hopefully you'll keep supporting me. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.